They didn't follow the rulebook. They set it on fire. In the 1960s, Detroit was run by accountants, men in gray suits who cared about profit margins, safety regulations, and warranty claims. They had rules. No engines over 400 cubic inches in compact cars. No racing parts on the assembly line. No fun. But there was a shadow industry working inside the Big Three. A handful of engineers, dealers, and lunatics who looked at the corporate mandate and said, "Watch this. Subscribe." Because today, we're talking about the Outlaws who built the cars that were never supposed to exist. Let's start with the man who declared war on Chevrolet, Larry Shinoda. In 1969, Ford was in trouble. The Camaro Z28 was eating the Mustang alive on the Trans Am circuit. The Mustang was getting fat, lazy, and slow. Ford's management wanted safe family cars. Shinoda wanted a street fighter. He was told no racing engines, too expensive, too unreliable for warranty work. Shinoda ignored them. He took the Tunnel Port 302, a high-strung, high-revving racing mill, and shoved it into the Mustang chassis. He stripped off the fake scoops, the chrome, and the garbage. He added functional aero. When the suits asked what he was doing, he just pointed at the car. He called it the boss. Why? Because he only answered to the boss, Bunky Punson, and nobody else. The Boss 302 wasn't a committee decision, it was a rebellion. And it gave Ford the only weapon that could actually kill a Z28 in a corner. But while Shinoda was fighting inside the building, Don Yenko was robbing the bank from the outside. Here was the rule at General Motors. You cannot put an engine larger than 400 cubic inches in a Camaro, period. The Corvette was the flagship. The Camaro was the little brother. Know your place. Don Yenko, a dealership owner in Pennsylvania, didn't like that rule. He had customers who wanted 427s, and he was tired of swapping them in by hand. So he found a back door. The COPO system, Central Office Production Order. This paperwork was designed for fleets. You used it to order 500 taxicabs with heavy-duty shocks or 100 garbage trucks with specific gearing. Yenko used it to order Camaros with the L72 427 Corvette engine. He didn't just break the rule. He weaponized the bureaucracy against itself. He filled out the forms, the computer processed them, and suddenly GM's own factory was building the very cars the executives banned. The Yenko SC Camaro wasn't just a fast car, it was a paperwork heist. Then you have the mad scientist, Smokey Yunick. If you walked into his shop in Daytona, the sign said, "Best damn garage in town." Smokey didn't believe in rules. He believed in interpretation. His motto, "If the rule doesn't say you can't, you can." NASCAR hated him. They'd write a rule, and Smokey would find the invisible loophole. They said you couldn't alter the fuel tank size. Fine. Smokey installed a fuel line that was 11 feet long and 2 inches wide. He could hold a couple extra gallons of gas just in the plumbing. But the legend is the 1967 Chevelle. The story goes that Smokey built a car that was 7/8 the size of a stock Chevelle, just slightly smaller, slightly more aerodynamic. Perfect scale, just shrunken. Was it true? Maybe. But when NASCAR officials pulled the fuel tank out to inspect it, Smokey got in the car, started it without a gas tank, and drove away. He didn't just build cars, he built anxiety in every tech inspector's heart. Detroit tried to keep these guys on a leash, but you can't cage a hurricane. Enter Carroll Shelby, the Phantom Builder. Everyone knows the GT350, but do you know how much lying it took to get that car on the road? Shelby was a hustler. When Ford sent him the first Mustangs to convert, they were street cars. Shelby turned them into race cars that were barely legal enough to have a license plate. The side exit exhaust was illegal in half the states. The suspension was so stiff it cracked teeth. The brakes squealed. Shelby told the Ford executives, "Don't worry, we'll make it compliant." He lied. He built 100 cars to meet SCCA racing requirements, lined them up, and when the inspectors left, he stripped parts off those cars to build the next batch. He was selling race cars to dentists and telling them it was a daily driver. And because of that deception, we got the GT350. Finally, the corporate rebel, Tom Hoover, and the Ram Chargers. Chrysler in the early 60s was conservative. They built engines for reliability. Tom Hoover wanted to build an engine for domination. He dug up an old design, the Hemi spherical combustion chamber. It was heavy, it was wide, it was expensive to cast. The executives said no way, too radical. Hoover and his team, a group of rogue engineers called the Ram Chargers, worked nights and weekends. They built the 426 Hemi in secret. They didn't build it for the street, they built it for Daytona. When they showed up to the 1954 Daytona 500, nobody knew what was under the hood. The Hemi proceeded to lap the entire field. It was so fast, so dominant, that NASCAR banned it. They literally outlawed the engine because it was unfair to everyone else. Hoover forced Chrysler's hand. To make it legal for racing again, they had to sell it on the street. The executives hated it. The insurance companies hated it. But the 426 Hemi became the standard by which all other horsepower is measured. Here's the truth about the golden era of muscle. We think of these cars as products of big corporations. They weren't. They were acts of defiance. The Boss 302, the COPO Camaro, the Hemi Cuda. They exist because someone looked at a rulebook, laughed, and built it anyway. They were the outlaws, the troublemakers, the guys who understood that sometimes to make history, you have to break the law. If you like stories about the mechanical renegades who built the world we live in, hit that subscribe button. Next time, we're talking about the darker side of the industry, the service bulletin cover-ups, the factory defects they knew about, hid from you, and refused to fix until people got hurt. You won't want to miss it.